Assalamu everyone. I hope you're doing really well. My name's HUMNA and I share content connected to art, healing and spirituality. This is a piece I've been working on. It's the peacock coming to life, and one of the things I absolutely love creating is peacocks, and for some reason they've always been an inspiration for me for different reasons. And this time what I was working was with that no matter one of the most beautiful things about a peacock is that it's able to eat poisonous plants and it doesn't affect it. Like, poisonous plants don't hurt the peacock. What message that I received from the creator through that was that sometimes we go through lives that think that the experiences feel like they're killing us. It's like poison that we take in, but yet the peacock remains beautiful, graceful, and still does what it does because that's what it was created to do, to sort of just bring in the beauty of the creator into this world and make us be in awe of the many eyes and its feathers and all that sort of stuff. So that was like the main inspiration for this piece, and it stands alone, yet it's never alone, is what always makes me kind of be fascinated by, because you see how many eyes there are, and we always think of eyes as the windows to the soul. So imagine how many souls the peacock has around it. It's so protected by the creator for the many eyes that it's being watched by, and also how many eyes are actually experiencing being a peacock. So it's like not just that it is being watched, but how much is the peacock also watching, comes to mind. And there's so much that we see, but how much of it truly we understand comes from the creator. We see people, we see things, we see our clothes, we see our creation, we see our homes, our relationships, whatever it is that we have around us in our physical reality. We see all of this, but we don't necessarily see them as coming from God at times, right? We sometimes forget. And so one of the reasons I started this soul remembrance sort of videos was so that our souls together can remember the creator and celebrate his love and his light, and we can bring more of it into our hearts by connecting to these elements that are there in his creation. And I always look at dunya, as people say, oh, dunya is this, dunya is that. For me, I think dunya is absolutely beautiful. As much as I've gone through times of being highly depressed and very lonely in my life, and I've always kind of thought it was not that the dunya became bad, it was me who wasn't able to see the dunya for what it is. Because in reality, the dunya is a creation of Allah, and so as much as the heaven is beautiful, so is dunya. So we have to have that love relationship towards dunya also, because dunya is the clay that we are made up of. So if we don't like the dunya as a creation of his, I'm not saying that you start worshipping it or think of it as your permanent destination, but we also have to be very aware of how and what we are constantly feeding our mind, right? That dunya is this, dunya is bad, dunya is not safe, dunya is blah blah. And I think, but then when we connect to Yavasi, every creation, everything in the universe is a face of the creator. So then how can dunya be bad if everything is going to be a reminder of Yavasi, of him, of his love and his remembrance? So then automatically dunya does become beautiful when you consciously connect everything in the dunya with Allah. Now, having said that, what happened was I went through a journey of, my spiritual journey has been very not something I was expecting, I'm not going to be honest with you. It was just one fine day I woke up and I realized that I was in a state of bliss and I wanted to serve the higher power, the higher realms. And I prayed to Allah that, Allah Mia, please let me do that what I'm ready for. I'm ready for that what you created me. And I still remember that day when I walked in the house from my garden. Everything after that moment just turned upside down. Everything that I thought was bliss turned into absolute, incredibly most painful reality of my own life. And I was totally shocked. I was like, okay, here I was thinking, I've got everything. Now I want to do what you want me to do. But the truth was that what he wanted me to do was to recognize that the bliss that I was feeling was very dunya, right? And he wanted me to see the dunya for that what he chooses for me to see him in, not see dunya as, oh, I've got everything, like my egoic brain, I've got everything now, I want to now serve the planet. No, no, no. I had to understand that everything in the creation was a reflection of his love for me. Everything was created for me. So I had to not attach dunya and then go to him. I had to go to him to be able to see him in everything. Not when I am satisfied, then I'll serve Allah. No, no. I had to be servicing in service of Allah through everything that I see. And in that moment, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be, Allah, I want to be a slave to you in whatever form and way. When my world turned upside down, I found it very, very hard to keep up my trust, but yet I kept going, I kept believing, I kept saying, no, 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 there's something good in this. But that memory of that dua that I made to Allah, that I'm ready to do that for you, I'm ready to do whatever it is that you've created me for. Oh my God, I cannot tell you, because that dua was so powerful, it was so clear and direct and sincere from my heart that Allah heard it. And he, to make me do that what I am here to do, I had to let go of all the facade, of all the things that I was actually attaching myself to, understanding that they were bliss, because dunya was bliss for me. And he wanted me to see dunya through his eyes, not through the eyes of what I've been told and taught. So for that, he had to break every single illusion, every single attachment of mine. So I was able to become a slave of his, be of service to humanity through that what he wants me to do. And never ever in my entire life I ever imagined that I'd be a person, speaking of God or connecting to him, or doing the zikr of Allah, and teaching Qur'an, and teaching how to connect to the names of Allah. Like, never ever did I give myself that much credit ever in my life that I would be chosen to do this job. I always thought I was like a mediocre, kind of like just a person. So I don't even think I had any, I wanted to be famous, and I wanted to be blah blah whatever, and I wanted to run a business and things like that, like all kinds of dreams that everybody has. But I thought of myself as something very middle class, like in the middle, like mediocre, like average sort of thing. I didn't never think that I would pick up Quran and I would be able to draw the words of Allah in my art, and connect to his names and bring out the beauty, and not only do that on my own, but be able to teach that to people. It was like this was never a path I would have chosen for myself. And I understand that, he created me and all that. I needed to break all the walls of what I thought I was created for, to allow myself to just free flow into what he wants me to, live and experience. So there was a lot of detachment from people, from relationships, from status, from how I looked. Like, I had to completely change the way I look, the way I speak, the way I am, where I live, who I live with, who I interact, what I eat, what I don't eat. Like, everything so softly and gently. He awakened Ya Latif in my experience so deeply that there was no turning back. I could not unsee what I had seen of the dunya for what it was. And that what I thought was bliss was a facade, an illusion that I had created of perfection, of what dunya expected me to be and be. And I did not see dunya for the beauty of as a remembrance of my Allah. I saw it as something, like tick mark, like have a husband, have a child, have a dog, have a house, have a this, have a that, or this, that. I looked at the dunya as all of these things that I was meant to achieve and attain, and what I didn't, failure, would I try harder to get them. It was very much based on dunya, and I realized that through my own personal journey to Allah led me to become something that I was never trained for, or never even thought I was capable of. and very little. I thought of myself as very little, as a very, very, very little. Like I used to belittle myself, and sit in that miserable victim mentality. And the way he has, when he gives you, when he brings you closer to him, there is nothing on this planet that can ever come close to that, what he gives through his book and through his names. I never ever felt so at peace in my soul if it wasn't for his names, or it wasn't for his book, or it wasn't for the way he broke apart every single illusion of mine. And let me tell you this, it wasn't easy. It was really, really painful. There were many, many, many dark nights of the soul, the ego breaking and the death of illusions, of idols breaking. All of that was part of his plan. And today, as I sit here, I don't necessarily have that many friends, but what I do have is companions. And my companion could be a tree, my companion could be a pigeon, my companion could be, an ant or a snail or somebody walking by. And my companion is everybody and everything that exists in this dunya. So I don't look at anybody and everybody, as what are they going to give me, but rather as we all walking towards him together. And we just kind of need to praise him, and the more we praise him, the more we get closer to him, the more we bring more love in this dunya, bring more light in this dunya through whatever it is that we do. For me, it's always been art takes me into a zone where I'm not judged for what is coming out of me. It just kind of flows. It just is a language that I speak very fluently, and that what gets created through me is never about me. It's always about him and me, him holding my hand, him using me as a tool of his, as a slave. I think for me, art as Ibadat, when I started, is a journey of truly becoming a slave, truly letting go. The many, many deaths like that I have had to go through of unveiling myself to where I am. It's been it's been a journey. And when I look at this peacock, and this is what this whole peacock, this piece speaks about, that the world that it's getting, the world that's getting created around it is not something that the peacock knows. But the one who created the peacock knows what kind of world it needs, and what kind of performance, or how long a performance will be, when will the feathers come up, and which feather will fall down, how will it rise, where will it move, what will it do. Everything is choreographed by the most beautiful creator. And so it teaches a lot of trust. Like, I think for me, trust was a big thing. Truth was a huge thing. I was not satisfied with what I was taught about God, and that was something that I really had to break apart, as to seeing God not through the eyes of what people tell me to, or what I really should be doing, but then understanding him through love, through coming closer to him, through choosing him over and over and over again. Like, I'm constantly saying, okay, I understand this is a role I play, this is the relationship that I am in, but I choose God before. I choose. I constantly remind myself that I have to make a choice. And it hasn't been very easy, because I judged myself, I was guilty, I regretted it, there was lots of resentment that came through, there was lots of loneliness. But what came through in the end was so satisfying, as he promises, whatever he takes from you, he will give back 10-folds, 1,000-folds more. And that's exactly what happens, in life. We think we are capable of something, and we think very little of ourselves. But then what and who we are his soul, and the soul that shines through each one of us is his. And the more we value the soul, the more we understand that the facade, the layers of ego, the identity that we have is just an identity. It's not the truth. And to get to the truth, you have to really, really commit to you. and your relationship with your creator. And I think it was that thing, kind of not going to places, not meeting people, constantly telling myself, no, I'm not going to choose people who make me feel unworthy. No, I'm not going to go into places where I don't feel right. I'm not going to be in relationships which actually, aren't reciprocated, because Allah doesn't want me to be. Like, I constantly kept going into this place was no, 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 no. So many no's I had to go, because I was such a yes person, like people pleaser. But anyway, if that's the kind of journey you've been on, and I hope you really enjoy the making of this piece, because I absolutely loved it. And if you ever want to buy my artwork, you're most welcome to contact me through all the links down below. And if you feel like you would, I hope some kind of message was received by your soul through this video, by watching the video, by hearing me speak. You also can feel empowered in yourself that sometimes you don't know the path, sometimes you don't know what you're here to do, but you know that the one who's written your story knows exactly why he created you, and you will dance no matter how dark it gets, no matter what hurts you, breaks you, whatever. That what breaks apart is the part that was breakable. But the part in you that is unbreakable, meaning your soul that is connected to the source, the one that is the strength of all beauty and everything, is cannot be broken. So the part of you that dies, that gets broken, is a part of you that was able to break. That was the part that was breakable. And so that breaking is okay, because the part that can't be broken is the part that is his and his soul. Your soul cannot be broken. And so whatever does break, let it break, for that's what he chooses to allow to happen, so you're able to becoming that what he wants you to become, inshallah ta'ala. If this resonates with you, do leave me a comment, connect with me, like, share with anybody you feel can benefit from this. If you'd like to join my live sessions that I run free on Friday 11 a.m. UK time, you can send me a message or write art as Ibadat down below, or in my DM me on my Instagram, and I'll share the Zoom link with you, and you can join from anywhere. These sessions are really powerful. They not only allow you to have a safe space to be expressive, but also deepen your connection with your Allah through your creativity, and align your heart and mind and soul and spirit in oneness of that most beautiful Allah that we call our creator. I love you lots. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon, inshallah.